project managers or program managers to douse the fire over there. I mean, no one will take the blame. Everything comes on project manager and program manager to douse that flame. So, to make us understand on this important topic on how to keeping our projects off the trouble, we have a very special speaker, Shubha Gupta, here with us. She is Client Services Excellence Leader, India South Asia sector, and she's from IBM Consulting India. So, Shubha, I, Deepti Sehajpal Gori, welcome you on PMI North India chapter's behalf. Thank you so much for taking out time on Sunday and helping us understand this important topic, which is very, I think, important for everyone. Before I proceed, before I hand over the mic to you, I would like to give a quick introduction to all the people who are there on call. So just to give a quick introduction about Shubha. Shubha, as I mentioned, is a client services excellence leader at IBM Consulting. She has 24 years of industry experience in different domains and has led large transformation and consulting projects for domestic and international clients. And she's passionate about building project management capabilities and driving multiple initiatives. And with this passionate leader explaining us this important topic, I'm sure all of us will have an important takeaway after after we're done with this 1 hour session. So thank you so much, Shubha, once again, and over to you.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
The share is disabled. Now I have it. Okay, just confirming you all are able to hear me clearly, see my screen, see me.
Yes.
And we're good to go.
Everything is good, Shubha.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was a lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Dipti. And extremely excited to be here within this group of like-minded professionals. And as I'm here, in this spirit of genuine passion for the subject. So as Dipti was sharing, building project management capability across my organization, IBM at large, and in general also, the competency is an area that I cherish much. So that's why happy to be there with you on a Sunday. A very good morning to all the amazing people here who actually joined in on this Sunday morning, choosing to invest on their skills. By the way, do keep pouring in on the chat. Where are you all joining in from? Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, elsewhere? It does take an effort, right, to prioritize learning, choosing to sharpen those saws further. And believe me, that's what I am here too for. Because learning, if you say, is like a test match, right? It's not the T20 that we played yesterday. It's for you to be on top of your game all through and through at all the times. And then for us, right?
So we have people from Delhi, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Faridabad, and along with that, Sumit is from Amritsar and Vinod is from Lucknow.
Awesome, amazing.
Excellent.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. By the way, how are the spirits across post yesterday's win? I'm sure it will be a high, sir.
Indeed.
Right, as we were just discussing, what a match, what a catch. So on this high note, maybe let's get started for the day. Let's look through what we would go through as an overall package today. What's in store? Basically, if you look at it, the key focus for the session today primarily is to bring in those practical experiences, share those learnings from the ground, your stories from the real world, and share and learn from each experience that's there on the room here. And I hold this entire forum like a rich, wealthy forum of people bringing in diverse experiences. So feel free, exchange ideas, pour in your perspectives on a certain topic. And as a general protocol, I would pause after each slide I do to get your questions or perspective. But that, having said that, it's like an open forum. Feel free to pause me anywhere, bring in your perspective, add in a point or your question, whatever that may be.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
so yeah. So
Just
from
to
that
add here, like Shubhas mentioned, we would like to keep it conversational. And I was speaking to Shubha yesterday, and then we did mention that it's very, very important for you also to speak up so that we know that we are headed in the right direction. So, as Shubha mentioned, do share your thoughts. And then, in case you have any queries, do raise your hands, and then we'll definitely uh, give you turn to speak and ask the question. Thank you.
fair. And in terms of the core content, if you look at that, as the topic resonates, we are here to look at those key troublemakers. And when I say this, it's purely again basis the core uh, experience I have from the ground. We've been seeing multitude of projects across the years, and it's a good list picked up there. You'll resonate with it. Let's look at that. And how to, so more important than that is how do I address each one of those? How do I keep each one of those at bay, ensure that for me I am the go-to person in the project, in the organization, who has a strong handle when it comes to looking at challenges, managing those, and of course steering your team through any of these areas, right? And then once you've had a good hold on this, maybe let's spend some time to understand what's the next big thing when it comes to PM discipline, project management as a subject, as a topic, as a discipline. How is the industry shifting? What are the trends like, and where are we headed? And then post that, towards the end, I save the best for the last. There is this secret recipe for you to be that agent 007. That is that James Bond project manager. So I keep that for the last. With that, what we would not be covering is no set curricula here. It's more about connecting the dots with you and for all of you. So basically, we all of us together look at each of these areas and build on our practical knowledge base. It's no curriculum base, no pure book that we follow, with the sole objective that each one of us here, when we walk out of this hour of power, we will be more aware, more informed leaders, managers, capable of making a difference. So with that mindset, here is your boarding checklist that I have. uh, do come in with a cup of coffee, your glass of water, and then those in NCR, I'm sure you can add chai to your pakoras and bring that along. Feel free, come with a relaxed mindset, come with an open, curious, sharing, learning mindset. There's nothing cast in stone. Each experience counts, each learning counts. And while we do that, I generally do this. Do give it a try today in case you've not done it earlier. Keep a scribble pad with you and maybe try jotting down points that make sense to you, words that resonate with you, or or even simply scribble. It just keeps you more engaged, keeps you more involved. So with this, all right, then let's take the plunge. And before I go, as I promised, I pause at each slide. Anything that you have from a expectation setting, or anything that you would want further to be covered here? Okay.
I think this is a good recipe already.
I let you warm up a bit. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So see, it's been what in the industry we've seen our industry change over multitude of years now. Across the years, the way we manage projects, the way we deliver projects has been continually evolving. Don't you think so? Right? So there has been a significant shift in industry priorities, in the technology that we have on ground, in the people that are there delivering the projects, in the managers that are executing those, right? So let's do a quick reiki around the room. How many of us have, or how many of you have seen this evolution already for maybe less than 5 or 5 years now? If it is a 5, you give me a 5 in the chat box. And how many of us have been seeing this transition for say 5, 10, 15 years now? So if it's anything between 5 to 15 years, you give me a 15 in the chat box. And how many of us are those super veterans in the bucket who've seen the transition for 15, 20, 25 years now already? So you give me a 25. So quickly looking at the numbers coming in there. I'm not able to see the chat. Okay, oh, that's nice. I have.
So diverse set of
So,
audience here,
yeah.
Shubha. So people with 15
yes,
years experience, 20 plus years, more than 25 years, 5 years, 25, 15, 10, 25.
amazing, amazing. I couldn't have
So
asked for a more
you have
apt comment.
experienced ones mostly,
Yeah.
Shubha. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So maybe let's start bottoms up then. So those
Yeah.
who gave a 25 on the list there, uh, what from your perspective has changed? What is it that you see as the core shift in the way we delivered projects 20 years ago and the way we do it now? I think Dipti, they can unmute and
Yeah, they
voice out.
can.
Fair
So
then.
I would pass on the mic to Ajanta and Mukulji, who mentioned that they have 25 plus years of experience. So
So as per seniority, request Mukulji to go first. I would still like to be called as younger one.
We ladies can't miss
Yeah,
this,
thank you.
right?
Thank you, Deepti, and thank you, Shubha. See, I've been into project management field only for last about 40 years and so globally. And the change, major change, what I have observed over these few decades is
Mhm.
the awareness and the knowledge of project management amongst the project managing people, project team. And
Pertinent.
this is also the lacking skill, because in several projects I am still finding people, they are not aware of this project management skills, and they are still trying to go as per the traditional ways they have been following. And wherever I see this thing, I always vouch for project management knowledge that we are gathering from PMI. And
Such an apt
okay,
point.
so
Yeah.
that is the major thing what I have observed, and I am still following it up like this. Thank you.
Such an apt point. Thank you, Mukulji. It's such an apt point that learning, as I said, is a test match. You got to be on it all through and through. And with organizations like PMI, organizations like IBM, there is so much stress on learning each day. We support certifications, we support programs, study groups, like-minded communities. So of course, there is a lot of focus that has come now more on learning cumulatively. Yeah, amazing point. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ajanta.
Well, I think Mukulji summed up very well. At the same time, when it comes to the knowledge and the learning from the team, it's also at the receiving end that how we need to educate the receiving end, that why this project management is so important in this disruptive world. You know, so this is still ongoing. I think since last 25 years we are still trying to, in the various, at least in the IT it is very much well received, but in the rest of the domain still the value of project management.
Bingo. I talk of
Yeah.
it in my
Right.
sense.
So I know what I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about. So
So precise.
I'm sure that you are going to cover that, and that would be an excellent area to talk about and get the experience from the rest of the forum, because the PMI NIC has people not only from IT but from the other domains as well, and Mukulji himself, so I think he can also add a lot of value in these kind of discussions. So
Yeah, definitely. Such a valid point, Ajanta. And but even in spite of the diversity that we have, core principles stay the same. Uh, you've got to plan, you've got to set your targets, you've got to have milestones, and that is across domains, essentially giving you the same flavor. Yeah, perfect thought. Anyone else wants to go?
I would like to add, thank you to
Sonia,
Mukul and Ajanta. This is Sonia.
sure.
In back in the days, I have seen the leadership style used to be more autocratic in nature. Now it is more of democratic and collaborative in nature.
Yes, that's a very good observation. I'm not sure how many of us have heard of the term servant leadership. That was not a term that was heard even in the farthest corners of delivery ever earlier. Now it is a given. You are more of a servant leader. You lead by taking your team along, by building them. Yeah, thank you, Sonia. Sorbi, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would like to add more points to it. Like as we are evolving, as you said, Shobha, since in the previous days, like when I started my career, we were towards waterfall model. Now it's more into agile, so more adaptive nature and more customer focus. Everything is like embracing the change. So whatever is coming from the customer, the focus is totally getting changed. So that is the evolution we are going through with this journey in project management as well.
Such so valid, Sorbi. It's the rapid shift that we are going through. Clients need to be more agile. The market is competitive now. Imagine you have a Nokia brand launched today. You will have Samsung or Apple ranging with another. Competing on that with another 6 releases. So you got to be agile. The client has markets to beat, and when my client has markets to beat, I uh, have no other option to be nimble enough to meet that demand. The industries are going through a lot more rapid shift. The complexities of projects is also increasing, as you all aptly shared, that there is a lot of movement that I kind of see now from the way we would deliver projects 20 years ago. There is a rapid shift. The technology landscape has kind of increased. The time to market has shortened. I need to be delivering my projects in a shorter time frame. Each one needs to see a touch me, feel me, deliver kind of a project in hand before they can kind of go ahead and look at a larger working piece. And isn't it amazing to see these shifts driven by like influence of the global mega trends that are there, like large scale projects, change in health priorities, that's also post COVID surely driving a lot of ways of our working that we have on ground. And also, if you observe now, this is like a last 5 year shift, I will say. There's a lot more focus on sustainability. uh, and and can I even afford to miss mentioning Gen AI, generative AI? I mean, if I look back home, that is IBM. Each day, each meeting, each deliverable, I cannot escape mentioning generative AI. So that's what's happening now on the ground already, and also evolving by the impact of this changing forces that we have. Work arrangements, we never heard of a hybrid arrangement earlier, and now, like it or not, we better adopt to it. uh, in fact, on that note, just to share, we had this project which is in central Delhi. It's it's Hamdard Labs. I can even share that with you. So this project is right in the heart of Delhi, Asaf Ali Road, in case you all are familiar. That's where the corporate office is. And my team is scattered, Greater Noida, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, of course, right? And for us, 5 years ago, pre-COVID, 10 years ago, even before that, there was no thought of being not available at the client location when you're assigned to a project. But come COVID, the thought process, mindset has changed. Uh, the, the team members now demand, with a valid reasoning, of course, saying that rather than me spending 2 hours on the road one way down and net 4 hours traveling, I will be able to give you an added productivity if I am working off location. And now I am there standing in front of my client, aligning them to the fact that this is doable and we will be able to deliver given this complexity of arrangement. And like it or not, we got to be accommodative. Yeah, Happy Path would have been all there, sharp 9 a.m. They leave at 5. But yeah, that's not how the world is working now. So that shift has happened. And in fact, what I have here on the charts is PMI's own Pulse of the Profession report from 2024. It gives me clear stats that 73% of the average project performance is at 73%. And projects with high level of performance have also kind of demonstrated a direct correlation on lower scope creep. I don't have it on the charts here, but higher team motivation, uh, kind of higher productivity, which is a given. And a key project execution metric is your budget losses. And it's not like that I am being a critique to any project delivery team or organization. It's like how we deliver now has to change. So the key message that I'm trying to drive home is be ready for that mindset change, be accommodative, be on the learning path forever. Each day, each experience brings in a new aspect to your basket of execution. So be there. See, what I truly believe, that no project in the industry starts with an intent of failing, right? But yet we do traverse through troubled waters. We do head down south. What is our role as project managers there? You got to preempt things. You got to keep those early warning signals on your radar. You got to be the savior of the day. And how do you do that? Uh, I mean, there is this very familiar example in, I will say, our circles of that popular Arch Deluxe burger. If you remember that, it was like a double filling burger that was introduced by McD, as opposed to their popular Big Mac or that simple aloo tikki burger that they have. Now the proposition that they had there, it's for those who enjoy luxury, and it was kind of on that tagged double the price. Now, having done this, one of the key aspects that got missed is McD also is popular amongst, is also what is largely popular amongst and the larger population for being the pick and go food option, for being the fast food option. Now, if I am claiming to be a fast food option and I'm bringing in someone, a product which tags to luxury at a higher price, I I'm actually not studying my user base, my client base. What is it that they were thronging to me for? And you check out the menu now, you don't see a Arch Deluxe burger on McD's menu. And this is post having burned millions of dollars there. on ad campaigns, on the entire development life cycle of things. So even before you go there, it is for you to perceive those trouble indicators. It is for you to uh, contain those trouble indicators and take the right action. And believe me, again, having seen through so many projects, having sat through recovery reviews of multitudes of projects, uh, all that it boils down to is basic project management. It is that basic 101s that we tend to miss out in our flow of things, and that is where you got to keep your sight strong on. So with that, let me take a pause before I move ahead. Any questions that you have, any point that you want to bring on?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, Manoranjan, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is again, you have rightly mentioned that even for traditional project management system also now is adopting the hybrid model to become agile to see that environment changes that they are operating in. But recently, in the last 2, 3 years, failure of many startup companies, now it has become a very difficult for decision making that now whatever decision we need to take being agile and risk-based decision actually, and to evaluate those risks. And the data in the environment is not available in case of if you want to agile and open some new environment. So those data are not available. So it becomes very challenging sometimes to make a decision. So this is another challenge I rather say being agile to adapt to the environment, fit to the environment, what is changing.
Yeah,
It's
so
really
precisely.
becoming difficult nowadays, challenging. Rather, I don't say difficult, it's a challenging.
It's a challenge, yeah, definitely. I so agree with you, because the more you are supported on your decisions by data, by trends, easier it is for you to rely on any decision during the heat of the moment, right? So when you've
Yeah.
seen, as you rightly said, Manoranjan, that when I've seen that option A works more on the ground for more than 80% of the deliveries that we've done in the past, it's easy for me to pick up that and run on that
Yes.
execution point. Yeah, totally fair. Yeah, anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, but but kind of see, again, what is the word that I said there? Scope change, scope creep, basic project management 101s. Uh, there are these. With this, let me move on to what are the top 5 troublemakers or the usual suspects that pose these challenges to our delivery. And if you do a quick run through of the list there, none of those terms will be unfamiliar or non resonating to you. Give me a quick why in the chat box in case you agree that all these points largely are resonating. Client expectation, scope creep. So a quick why or a yes in the chat in case you also resonate with these as your usual suspects of trouble in the delivery. Yeah, of course, I think we all would agree that there is no denial that each of these areas are typically the ones which cause trouble. And if you see again, going back to the point of it is project management for dummies. It is that basic uh, rules or back to basics kind of a scenario that we need to strengthen. It is that 49 process chart on your PMBOK, whichever version, whichever year you would have studied it. So the core principles do not change. So what I'm trying to now bring you from that mindset is, while rest of the world is changing for the good. The core principles that you as a leader, as a project manager, needs to hold strong to do not change. So basically what forms the backbone of your core delivery is are all the essential steps of what comes to you from PMI's wisdoms, right? So let's maybe I will get into each of these in detail, but if you look at that, for a poor delivery, uh, what are the key things that go? So what I have here, see, you may have a 20-point list also, but what I have here is the filtered, most repeated set of 5 suspects that keep cropping in across industry verticals, ranging from multi-millionaire dollar projects to the most simplistic solutions on ground. Crux of the matter, or the problem core at heart, is again those 49 process chart. Y'all remember that chart from your PMI days? Yeah, I just hope, yeah, y'all do. Yeah, so
Yes,
while
certainly.
of course,
Who
yes,
can forget that?
yes, of course, yes, of course, yes. While we get into each of these in detail and how to keep these under control, the focus has to be on serving each of the proposition to your client and not selling. So while I go through each of the points, keep your client in the center stage. That what is it that each of my action is adding to that value add of end delivery, uh, on what is it that is right for them, what is it that they should probably not buy, they should pick up, what is it in that delivery when you propose the next feature will be most beneficial to the end business. In usual jargons, it is called your core business value add, and that's how you build trust in all that you do, and that's how you show that you truly care. So not sure again how many of y'all would remember again this Apple product that came somewhere in the early 2000s. Lisa was the name. It's long before the popular iPhone that they went on air with. So again, this was a system that they bought in with the best of configurations, like a 500 megahertz processor, 1 MB RAM, and it was costed around some 10K dollars, right? The model sold only some 10K units, nothing beyond that. It it was fated to fail, given the fact that again the interest and core benefit of my end user was kept secondary to serving a lot many fancy features. It was kind of marketed as a game changer uh, to the earlier command line Apple that they had. But then again, the price was not something definitely someone would have gone in at the first go. There were technical issues because you're loading it with features. There were issues around it running on multiple processors, and it ran sluggish. And I mean, in the literal way of it also. So it was purely pulled out of the market immediately from day zero, I will say. And there are many similar examples during execution that we kind of tend to slip into. So while I get into the larger details on each of these points, I would like to bring you back to each every time by retaining your focus on the core center stage hero of your story, your client. Okay, so the first one there, if I get into, okay, sorry, I forgot the pause. You got to call me out. Is there any question, any aspect anyone wants to share? Okay, then I let you
We
enjoy.
have hands
We
raised
have couple of
by
hands.
Manoranjan and Shubhankar. Maybe they want to raise some question.
Yeah, Shubhankar, you want to go first?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Bankar, you are.
Yeah. Hi, Shubha. It was
Hi.
nice deliberation from you and a lot of insights coming into the picture. So, a brief background about me. I have around 30 plus years of experience.
Amazing.
I've been a CIO in multiple large enterprises. I'm also a PMP certified for more than 15 years. So,
Great.
I completely agree with all the points that you have shared with us, and also some beautiful points by some of the audience. I completely echo their viewpoints. But as I have walked in both sides of the table, that is, as a consulting
I lost Shubhankar's audio. Dipti, you're on mute.
Yeah, Shubhankar, you were audible earlier, but now we can hardly hear you. Oh, some issue, I guess. We can go to
as
Manoranjan.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, Manoranjan, we can hear you.
Shubhankar, we come back
a
to you in a bit.
internal
Yeah.
IT in the corporate. I have the perspective from both sides. Okay, would like
Shubhankar,
to
would you
get it
want
on.
to
Is
repeat
it
your
better now?
last few sentences, please? We lost your audio.
Somebody has muted me, so I don't know who did. Now I have unmuted myself. That may be the reason that you are unable to hear me. Please
No
do not
worries.
mute me when I am in the process of delivering. Okay.
Shubhankar, we muted you because we lost your voice, and then we had asked Manoranjan to speak. At that time, I unmuted you, but now your voice is loud and clear, so you can proceed.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
please
please.
do
Go
not
ahead,
do
please.
it when till I'm not finished. Okay. Okay. So if I want to repeat what what I said, that I have worked in both sides of the table, that is as a consulting partner as well as a internal IT in corporates. Okay, this gives me the privilege of having the both sides perspectives. Okay, how the clients work and how the vendors work. Okay, so one important point that I want to share with you, everyone, is I have seen that in many of the projects, large projects in the corporates, where it is being driven jointly, collaboratively by the large SIs and also the internal IT team. uh, I have realized a big problem, that the skin of the top management who really matter and who actually drive the workforce for the success of the project is missing. They
So,
always they always think that it is the job of the project manager, program manager, or the CIO or the vendors, but they forget that it is them who has to have their skin
so
equally into the game.
I have that on my top 5 list too. So,
Okay, so sorry to have it said
no,
earlier before you
no,
did.
no, totally fair. That is totally
This
fair
is
and such
my
an apt point. Such
this
an
is my
apt point.
experience working in corporates. In
Exactly.
in consulting role, I did not find it much, because I was mostly with European and US customers. There they are much more deep in the game, and they trust the consulting partners, SIs, very much. But here
True, true.
in many corporates, it is very unfortunate that maybe because of the culture of the
It's about,
organization,
you said the word. It's about that
culture.
project management culture in the organization.
Yes, yes,
And it starts from investing on their training, building
correct.
the skills, walking the talk, senior management being involved. So yeah, it's about that. We will talk of it in at length.
Another thing that I found is, sorry to take up your time, but I want to share my
Right.
rich experience. I'm on almost
Helps us,
three
yeah.
decades of experience. Yeah, so working in large conglomerates and in MNCs. So another thing I found in Indian conglomerates is they want a instant gratification. That is,
Oh,
they need a ready-made skill set senior professional to come on board at whatever price they command and then deliver.
So
They
true.
forget the next line of workforce, which are main pillars. Actually,
So
they actually deliver. They forget
so
to upskill them, train them.
So true, so true. In fact, we are doing this project, since you bring up the topic, we are doing this project for one of the government organizations. It's an ordnance factory. So
Mhm.
basically, where the ammunitions bullets get manufactured.
Yeah.
It's called munitions, right? So there we had this alignment with the client to provide resources with experience of 2 projects before we onboard them. And talking of client expectations, again bringing you back to that point. So while my contract said having 2 projects experience, but when we hit the ground running, the client is reviewing profiles, rejecting them, reviewing profiles, rejecting them. And I'm not just able to staff the project, forget alone start on time.
Yeah.
And that's when my project manager, I'm blessed to have good project managers, he went back to the contract, and it clearly said resources having uh, 2 projects experience. And what the client was doing is asking for a 2 domestic client experience. One word made 2 months of difference to my delivery.
Correct.
Now with a 5 year 7 year experience, resources on board with that kind of a pricing, you really cannot ask that
Correct.
level of 2 years of 2 projects done, that too in a domestic domain. It
Correct.
has to be evened out. And that's when we raised it back to the client, the expectation alignment was done, and you bring back things on track. Otherwise, he's having things his way, but there is something that we've agreed on too. So again, coming back to the point, it is so very important to read your contract, stay focused on it. And frankly, who doesn't want that fevicol ka jod with your client? And where does it all start? It starts with setting the client expectations right,
Correct.
it in line with your contract. So that's your bible, your holy grail on the ground on execution. Keep going back to it. Look for the silent points, look for what's not said. Keep razor sharp focus on scope dependencies. And there is a regular feedback loop, as Shubhankar was also sharing, that you got to keep talking to all your stakeholders, client being the most important one. And I have a top tip there. Generally, we process a PCR on execution when I'm about to cross the bridge. But it's always beneficial for me to do a zero value PCR. It trains all in the system. So try that out. It does help. With this, let me move on to the golden rules of scope management. We've all heard scope management. We've heard it multiple number of times. So many times that I think each forum that you go in our circles, in our subjects, it is again topping the list. But how do I manage it? What is it that I do? How do I focus on it? So if I talk of it purely, have a maniacal focus. I bring that word on purpose. Keep it active, keep it running, be on top of things 24/7. I know tough. People say I'm tracking issues, I'm tracking actions. What about your closure ratio? Are you able to meet that? It just doesn't stop there. You got to go to the next level. uh, I was there with the forum last Sunday, and there was someone who shared back saying, it's tough for me to say no to the client. But you got to take note of this. A no means a no, even when you as a project manager say it, and not alone Amitabh Bachchan or Tapsi Pannu saying it. So you got to make it as a given rule that anything beyond the scope has to be via a PCR. Call it constructive changes, call it beneficial to the end goal, call it anything. But the core principle stays same. You got to focus on your delivery. Yeah, your plan and your execution to the baseline has to be what you focus on. All others have to accommodate. We had this other project, we are doing it for Kentaro, where we had the project manager with an extreme seasoned hand, proactive on tracking milestones, very good at liaising with the stakeholders. But what happens when you are very good at liaising with stakeholders is they slip in those constructive changes. They slip in those, okay, ये website का ये button blue से amber ho jayega, will not be a big challenge. It's a minutes of change for you. While I keep entertaining that, when they snowball to a bigger unmanageable piece of chunk for me, I never know. So that with this, I also slip in the softer aspect of it. The professionalism aspect of it works at all the time. We know all this, but these are like your cheat codes on how to manage, how to regularly dashboard your stuff. And I'm just kind of in interest of time stepping through. Let me know in case you have questions. And so connecting to my earlier point that I was just sharing, you got to hold them accountable. So when I say them, it is the client, it is your internal stakeholders. You got to hold each and everyone accountable for what their piece of delivery on the ground is. It has to be I've seen many, again, I'm so brimming with examples because I see it day in and day out, as if we didn't know of it. We are doing a project for Union Bank of India, where there are multiple vendors involved. You have IBM doing the front end back end development, you have McKinsey doing the security part of it, and then you have a bank's own CISO team which does all the audits. Now there are dependencies that your development has on McKinsey, and there are dependencies that McKinsey has on bank and CISO. And what we happily do is we shy away from calling out those dependencies. What I want you all to go back with is, forget shy away, hold them by the neck and get those dependencies resolved in time. Important for you. Have your recovery roadmap, even to the extent that you know when it is right to walk out, when is the time to terminate and not go beyond. We've had customers like Raymond, Bestseller, who've asked us for a boundaryless PCR. A boundaryless PCR means I'm giving you the quantum, I can slip in as many requirements I want. That's not how it works. So given all this, your acid test of deliverability is, I started right, I'm executing it right, I'm making it a right experience for all in the game, my team, my client. And how do? I do it by being bottom line professional to the core. That's how I focus on it. With this, my the next troublemaker that we have is, and I feel this is so very relevant here. It does take a village to raise a project too. The way it takes.
I have one question actually. I raised it for the same reason.
Go ahead,
Can I
please.
intervene?
Yes,
Can I
please.
raise that now? Yeah, when you were saying that accountable for the stakeholders, the internal stakeholder, it is not a problem. That external stakeholder with whom you have signed a contract, they will not be accountable for that. They will simply hold you accountable because they have signed a contract and you have to deliver as per your contract.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. That's where we fail to connect the dots. Client is also a stakeholder to the delivery.
Again,
Client,
that is true.
right?
But again, they are not taking that responsibility or they are not becoming
No,
accountable for that.
see,
Like you said that.
look at it with an example. If I have to release a certain feature for a business rollout, client is supposed to maybe make available that CUG group or closed user group, which does the UAT before I roll it out at large. Now, come UAT time, client says my users are busy. Who's taking the hit? Your delivery?
But there is true. There should be because they are also partners to that. I know we are also
Correct.
partners to them to building that essay. But
That's why
normally
you
what
hold the
happens
client accountable, saying that, correct. That's, yes, so very valid. That's where you hold the client accountable, saying that I have to start my CUG but you got to give me the users who will test it a week before. So that's the dependency you have. That's the dependency you got to resolve. So from that perspective, you got to keep them honest. Fair thought?
Okay. Yeah, but a
Thank you.
little bit not that easy in a way.
Yeah, I know, not easy, not that easy. I hear you. Yeah, not that
Because
easy.
they will go after each and every conflict terms, and it becomes very
True,
difficult
true,
to
true.
convince
So true,
them.
so
They
true,
will make you liable to deliver that as per the
so
contract,
true.
and you have
So
no way
true.
out.
Yeah. Okay, then with this,
Yes,
moving on to
sorry.
the
Go ahead, please.
yeah, sure. Helps. Resourcing part. See, resourcing, the core challenge that we face on ground is our resources being committed. And I'm sure you all would have heard of this performance versus trust model of Simon Sinek. It's like, who is your go-to person on the project? The one who's most committed, or the one who's most trustworthy, or the ones who perform to the top or perform deliver to the top. And if you have to bargain at any point in time, please pick up the ones which are more trustworthy and reliable, because you can groom them to deliver on your project, improve their performance. But those who are not committed can kind of never be brought back. So those are the people you give a 21 gun salute and take your call, move ahead. It's those hard decisions that you got to take on ground. Those are the people with the big egos, which kind of ruin the project. So word of caution there. Uh, just being conscious of time, stepping in, we will reserve our discussion for the last bit, please. Okay, so
Yeah, 5 minutes left in the scheduled time. So this
sure, Dipti, thank you for the call out. So with this, I think Shubhankar raised this point earlier also. It's very important to have all eyes on your delivery. If the page is dirty, let everyone be on the same page. It's not you have an organization there full of SMEs, subject matter experts, to help you. Let's not shy away from asking for help. Let them all pitch in, bring in those expertise, and help you kind of execute the project better. So that has to stay as one of the core focuses there. Okay, so with this, I will kind of take few minutes shifting gears to bringing your focus on how do you now move things in the best of interest in times to come. So what do you think is the next best thing, or next big thing when it comes to project management, keeping your projects out of trouble? What do you think is the next big thing? What is changing on ground?
Shubha, this is something that you raised as well while we were there at the conference. So I mean, for me, it's the attitude of people, the junior guys who are now joining the force, Gen Zs.
You picked up the right chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true, so true. Is it data analytics? Been there already, gone, passe. Is it Gen AI? It's already happening. You can't be missing it on already. Cyborgs, yeah. Let's see where Tesla takes us. Uh, Many of these for sure. But for our profession, for our domain, the next big thing is the science of project management, the art of delivering those dream projects. And where does it come from? That's precisely what Ajanta also raised, precisely what many of us are resonating with already. It's more behavioral than technical. The more we focus on building our mindsets towards the technical part of processes, the more easier is the execution for us on ground. Hold on to those thoughts, explore the topic further. There is a lot more that's going behind the uh, neurobinomics of the psychological factors that come at play during your project execution. uh, there are again, PMI studies around it, where they claim that top 3 enablers, this is that recent report, 2024 report that we have, across industry domains, the top 3 enablers that are there are around mental health, around building those resource group, around coaching, around these discussions like these. And they are the factors which are running the routes, which are ruling the charts. So do take note of those. Now, before we close, I did promise the secret recipe for you to become that James Bond project manager who jumps into the scene and turns it around for everyone. And believe me, the secret to that success isn't hard. It's actually soft. And I mean it ironically also. You may want to check out this book from Richard Morel. I know many of us would be fans already. The 50 Killer Ideas for Delivering Successful Projects. It's all about taming those 3 idiots, I will say, which are more behavioral on the ground during project execution, where we lose sight on. We, all of us here are PMI experts given the forum, but bring your focus to the studies done on unintelligent behavior, to confident ignorance, that Donnan-Kruger effect that you would all know of, lack of self-control. I have included the word self there. It called out for control. It is about lack of self-control, not being disciplined enough to maintaining those daily call-outs, raising issues on time. There is another beautiful book, if you could check this out, The Project Manager Who Smiled by Peter Taylor. It's about taking things light and enjoying things as you do it. 8 hours per day, 40 years of our career, that's some more than 70K million hours. It's too much to say serious. So bring in that fun back, enjoy the journey, stay focused on saving your projects. So when I say save, have the silent indicators known, align on the larger business objectives. We vote for the ones where people feel we should spend our energy on. It's not the hippo in the room who calls the decisions. E is execute basis your SAV. So retain focus on that. With this, let me call it a close with a last quick question to you. Who do you think is the greatest project manager of all times? Any guesses? I'll give my personal guru, project management guru too. But who do you think is the greatest project manager of all times? Okay, I know we are top of the hour. Let me give it to you.
Shubha, I was about to answer your question. I think I feel my mother is the greatest project manager of my life.
So cute and so awesome. Yes, they are the ones who rule. For me, it is Balu the bear. If you recall that song,
Okay, yes.
you heard. I'm sure you would have heard of this. You,
Necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare.
and there is a line in this song. This one here.
For a prickly pear, and you prick a raw paw. Well, next time, beware.
This is where he proves to be the
Don't
guru.
pick the prickly pear with the paw. When you pick a pear, try to use the claw. But you don't need to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big paw. Have I?
Yeah. So did he give you a clue there? See, it's simple. Prioritize and focus on your priorities, and focus on the bare necessities. Don't complicate it. I'm so sorry we overshot on time, but let me open the forum now for questions. Dipti, I hope we have time for a couple of them.
Sure, we can take up questions. Guys, I'm sure all of you are more enlightened on this topic, how to keep your projects off the trouble. So Shubha's gracious enough on saying that she'll be able to answer a few questions. So in case you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand so that we can take up those questions. Any questions? Or everything was loud and clear? We did take a lot of questions while going through the slides. So
Any
I'm sure
perspective,
most of them.
last perspectives anyone wants
Yeah,
to
yeah.
share? I know I didn't allow that during the course.
So if not question, maybe I can share my comment, to about the session. So I would start with, thanking Shubha, sharing this invaluable insight, as to say, and on keeping the projects out of trouble. I think that's a very, very wide topic, and you narrowed it down so beautifully. And your experience on the delivery, handling the stakeholders, the kind of examples you gave, and the entire engaging with the customer, so that shows when you talk so passionately, and on each of the topic which you just did. So thank you so much for this effective communication, I think, and the real world insight which you gave. So I can't thank you enough, sir. I really enjoyed the session from the beginning. So thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you,
today.
Ajanta. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on a Sunday. It's amazing. It's a mutual pleasure, as I said. Completely enjoyed being there.
Yeah, I am sure everyone has gained a lot and has become wiser on this topic. And yeah,